Hey everybody, this is Professor Henry coming at you today with a tutorial on how to write a citation for a source in MLA style. By citation, I mean an entry in your list of works cited that you need to include starting at the top of a new page at the end of any essay you write where you've used sources. But before I get into the citation and the list of works cited, I wanted to review the two-part system of citing and documenting sources in MLA style first. Okay, so one of those two parts are in-text citations. Those are the moments where, when you're using someone else's ideas, research, data, or work, and so on, you need to tell your readers two things. Number one, you need to tell them the name of the author who did the work. And number two, the specific location within that author's publication where you've found the ideas or the information. And you have to do this no matter if you are summarizing or paraphrasing using your own words, or of course if you're directly quoting, right? But no matter how you're referring to another author's work, you need to cite the source in this way. So there's the author's name, and then there's the location, right? By location, I mean the specific location in the author's publication where you found the ideas or the information. So in the case of a source that has page numbers, well, that would be the specific page number. That would be the location. In the case of something like a YouTube video, the location would be the timestamp. So you would tell your readers the specific minute and second counter on the video, and then that would be the way for you to cite the location in a source like that. So these are the kinds of citations that you need to do throughout the body of your essay every single time you're referring to somebody else's work, somebody else's ideas, somebody else's analysis, data, research, and so on. Okay, so then that brings me to the second part of the MLA system, which is our core focus today. That is our list of works cited. And in that list of works cited, we need more than just the author's name and the location. We are in fact going to need all of the bibliographic elements. So to help us do this, I have a scenario for us to consider. Let's say that we found an article in our textbook that we want to refer to and cite in an essay. That article that we're going to be working with today is this one here, written by John Marcus, titled "The Reason College Costs More Than You Think." And I thought we'd just start with the MLA style works cited entry so you can see what it looks like. But then by the end of the video, I'm hoping that you'll have a firm understanding of all of the different elements that are a part of the citation, and then why some of them end with a period, why some of them end with a comma, why some of them are in quotation marks, and why some of them are in italics. At the end of the day, honestly, I think MLA makes this pretty easy, but it's one of those things where it's only easy if you know what to do, right? If you don't know what to do, then it could just look like, you're just guessing, right? But there's no guesswork here, okay? Everything is all kind of like preset and predetermined based on the different publication information you have available to you. So we can break a works cited citation down into two categories. There are the core elements and the container elements. There are two core elements: the author's name and the title of the work. Most any source that you're likely to find and work with will have at least one of these core elements. Most of the time, both of them will be present. There will be somebody who wrote the source, and it might be more than one author who contributed to the source, but there's going to be some person or some people who are attributed. and then they will have given their work a title. There are some cases, though, where maybe the author's name is not published or there's no specific author associated with the work, but then that work should still have a title. Okay, so those are our core elements. And note that both of those core elements, they would end in the work's cited entry with a period at the end. Okay, so the element is kind of terminated, if you will, with a period. Okay, so those are our core elements, the first and the second thing that come up. And then there are our container elements. Each of the container elements is terminated by a comma, except for the last container element, number 9 down there, the location, that's terminated with a period, because that ends our entire work's cited entry. So just like the end of a sentence ends with a period, so does our works cited entry. Okay, so this is all of the information that we would need to find in order to create an MLA style works cited entry. Okay, so I want us to think about that article by John Marcus, The Reason College Costs More Than You Think. Okay, we're going to try to find all of these different elements and put together our citation. All right, so this article comes out of the textbook, The Norton Field Guide to Writing with Readings and Handbook. This image here is just a image of the cover page. And in that cover page, it's already giving us a variety of necessary information for our citation. We have some names listed at the bottom. And note that none of those names is John Marcus. Okay, John Marcus is the fellow who wrote the smaller article within this larger publication, right? But the names listed on the cover of this book here are the editors of this book: Richard Bullock, Maureen Daly-Goggin, and Francine Weinberg, right? So we have the names of some contributors. In this case, they are editors. We also have the title of the textbook, which is the title of the thing that contains the shorter article that we're citing, right? So we have the title of our container. And then that little 5E in the red circle on the lower right-hand corner, right? That's indicating to us that this textbook is in the 5th edition, right? So we have some kind of a volume number or a version number, if you will. Okay, and that's one of the elements of the container, right? Volume numbers or edition numbers and such. All right, so we have 3 elements of our citation already. Another really important place to look to get some more elements for our citation is the copyright page. Typically on the copyright page, of course, you're going to find copyright information, such as the date of the copyright, as in right here, right? That's going to be our publication date. And in the case where there are several years listed, you really just only need to refer to the most recent year. So our publication date for this source is going to be 2021. And then the name of our publisher, the company that published the work, the W. Norton and Company. Okay, so that's element 7 and element 8 of our citation. Okay, and then back to the smaller article itself, we have probably the most important elements of our citation: the name of the author who wrote it, John Marcus, and then the title of the work, The Reason College Costs More Than You Think. All right, so let's organize all this stuff. We've got our core elements. It's going to be the author names. In this case, John Marcus. But in MLA style, the primary author is listed last name, comma, first name. And since it's a core element, we end it with a period. The second core element is there too, the title. We're going to put that in quotation marks and terminate it with a period as well. Note the period is on the inside of the closing quotation mark though. We have our container elements. First, the title of the container. That goes in italics, terminated by a comma. In fact, they're all going to be terminated by a comma now, except for the last container element. Here we have some contributors. In this case, they are editors: Richard Bullock, Maureen Daly Goggin, and Francine Weinberg. But MLA style likes us to use this et al. Abbreviation whenever there are 3 or more authors or contributors. So our works cited entry is just going to be Richard Bullock et al. Version information, it's in its 5th edition. There's no issue number, so we can just leave that out. The publisher is the W.W. Norton and Company. Publication date, that was that most recent copyright year. That's 2021. And then the last element in our container is the location of the article. Well, it turns out that article was on pages, it started on page 144 in the textbook, and it ended on page 146 in the textbook. And it's not a typo there either, where I'm saying PP, that's the abbreviation for pages, right? And there's no typo here where I've left off the 100 for 146. It's typical in MLA style. If it's the same like 100 number, then you can just leave it off. So it's implied there that it's page 146. Okay, and then again, since this is the last element in our container, we end it with a period. So then we end up with our citation. Okay, there's nothing by accident here. Everything is intentional and is in the proper order. The title of the source and the core element goes in quotation marks. The title of the container goes in italics. Okay, nothing done there by accident or just because I thought it looked nice and I wanted to decorate it, right? Now everything is formatted as per MLA style guidelines. Okay. So nobody has this stuff memorized. We all have access to resources, though, that we can refer to help us put these kinds of citations together. The most important resource you have access to is your college or your university's library. Librarians like helping with this kind of stuff, and it's part of their job to help students cite and document sources. They oftentimes have helpful, sheets of paper that they can hand out that can give you a breakdown on how to cite and document sources, and not just in MLA style. They can help you cite in APA style or Chicago style or the Council of Science Editors style or CSE, and so on and so forth. Your librarians are really your best resource here. There's also the online writing lab at Purdue University. This is a free resource. All you need to do is go to owl.purdue.edu, or you could just do a Google search for online writing lab, and it's probably going to take you right there. The OWL at Purdue has been a prominent and popular source for a very long time. So a lot of times when you just maybe do a Google search for MLA, how to cite, and then maybe you don't know how to cite a YouTube video, you could Google MLA, how do I cite a YouTube video? Very likely one of the first hits that comes up, if not the first hit, will be the online writing lab at Purdue. Okay, but even if it's not the online writing lab at Purdue, surely a Google search is going to help you cite a specific kind of source if you're not sure how to do it. All right then, with that, I wish you the best of luck, and we'll see you next time.